sind mich Schatzen. Oi, oi, Gott ist größer. Hat doch gewünscht mein Häuser, die wir sind gegeben. Wir sind ausgegeben. Wir sind ausgegeben.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm so happy Marie Zhivago is with us. Dr. Zhivago, Doctor of Art. So cool to have you here. We are with the Chula Vista Heritage Museum, South Bay Historical Society in the Chula Vista Public Library, doing one of our episodes of Our Lives, Our Future. It is so great having you with us.
Thank you.
Boy, I am so lucky that you're here. This is really amazing. Just so you know, if anybody still wants to get their copy of El Sol from Southwestern College, you can pick them up here at the Chula Vista Public Library. Ask for them. One of the librarians will go back and get this for you.
Beautiful cover.
Yeah, isn't it nice? They did a super job. I really miss being here. I really miss you, Mom. Well, on more levels than you can imagine. Marie,
Yes.
This is a really important episode to me because as I look at this book, I see the artwork. I see amazing artwork that you did. The
Yes.
Sakura?
Yes, the Sakura.
Sakura. This is a great story
Yes.
about a tree.
Yes, a magical tree.
A magical tree. And Marie did the artwork, as I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably wondering, what would the Sakura and the Holocaust have in common? And
Yes.
I know that you came from a family of incredible history coming from the Philippines, which you're going to tell me about.
Yes.
But I wanted to bring to your attention what art did in the Holocaust. It kept people alive. And the fact that art, whether it's music or you're using a paintbrush or whatever, you're able to speak to more than just the language. It's a universal language, and yet it's silent, and yet it lasts forever. A little story about somebody from the Holocaust, Dina Babbitt, who was examined by Dr. Mengele and was sent to the gas chamber. And while she was in the gas chamber, Dr. Mengele, if I can call him that, made a comment about how he needed somebody to match the skin tones, that the photography was not working like he wanted. And somebody said, well, you just sent one of the artists into the gas chamber. So they went to the gas chamber and they said, you're being requested to do artwork. And she said, but my mother is in the gas chamber, and if I can't be with my mother, then I'd rather be dead. And so they took her and her mother out of the gas chamber and spared her life, and she ended up doing the most incredible art. For those of you that want to see it, you would go to Dina Babbitt, Babbitt, and you can Google the images. Quite amazing. I want you to know that I'm friends with her daughter, Karen Babbitt, who's a very famous comedian, a very funny, very wonderful comedian. But right now, she's not laughing because of the fires up north, and she's being threatened by the fires. So, Karen, this episode is for you. We're thinking about you. We're praying for you. And let's get started.
Okay.
Where were you born?
I was born in the Philippines, in Olongapo, in 1969, and in a Navy hospital. And I'm a military brat. That's what you call it?
Your father was in the military
yes,
too.
Okay. He joined the military after my grandfather joined the military, and that's how it all started. I don't know if you believe in ancestors and
of course,
coming to you and sending you messages. And
as an artist, we get messages in the weirdest way.
That's how it comes out. You know,
Right.
it's like we have to tell a story visually through their messages, and I find it right now I find it comforting, because before I was freaked out about it, because I would literally see, as an artist, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I would literally see him while I'm working on my cartoons in the corner of my eye walking up my stairs, and I'm like, he's got the same suit that he had on in pictures, and it's like he said hi. And I was like, oh my gosh! I literally had my son, my newborn son, on my lap and on my my computer, and I saw that, and I was like, what is he trying to tell me? So I had to go back into his history, and his history was that when he was in college, he was ready to become a priest. So he went to college back then, and they could afford it. And so while in college, his brother contacted him and said, I have some bad news to tell you. And he's like, what? And he said, Dad passed away. He was killed. And back then, the way back when, it was Spanish occupancy, and his dad was helping, I guess the rebels help them, the Filipinos, against the Spanish, and so he would give them food and donate some stuff, and I guess he got shot, and that devastated my grandfather. And he, if your parent passed away and he was the only one, affording your college, what would you do? He dropped out, of course, and then actually he was homeless for a couple of,
Wow.
Yeah, a while, and then he was just on the streets, and he saw all of a sudden during that time the Navy was there, and they were recruiting Filipinos to be part of the U.S. Navy, and that was back in 1903, World War I.
Oh, right? My gosh.
And so he is noted as the first
117
Filipino.
years ago.
Yes, and it's in it's in the book. So he's part of his Filipino history, and he was basically didn't have any identification because he was on the streets, and this foreigner was like, hey, you could use my identification number, and
Wow.
a ID, I guess, and gave it to him, and he enlisted in the U.S. Navy as from Potencia Farrell to Thomas DeLopo.
And he kept that name?
Yes.
Even when he passed away,
yes,
in blessed memory, he was DeLopo.
Yes.
And you are?
Aurora Marie DeLopo Zhivago. It's a long name.
Somewhere my life. Sorry.
So basically, that's how it all started. He was World War I, and then he retired. He wanted to stay in the Navy, but they said, no, you're too old. So, yeah, they said, you're too old. So he was collecting a lot of benefits.
He loved it.
He loved it. He
found himself.
He found himself because his father was
He knew what it was
killed.
like to be homeless. He knew what it was like not to have any kind of work. And then all of a sudden, he found his calling.
He found his calling. He wanted to serve the injustices of the world, so basically he retired, and then get this. This is where, Ruth comes in with...
I hope you're listening.
Yeah. So when the Japanese occupied the Philippines, he was one of those U.S. Navy veterans. And so they ransacked all the homes. They found his American flag and all of his veteran things. And they said, they're going to take my grandfather. So they grabbed him, and he was a prisoner, and they tied him to a pole, and they said, we're going to use him as an example of what we could do to you. So they threatened the community with my grandfather as an example. They tied him to the pole and left him there to die. So basically that's the story. He, of course, escaped, and he then joined, I guess, the rebels against that time. And then, I guess, Pearl bombing happened.
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. So my grandfather was involved in World War I, World War II, and then my dad joined the Navy, and that's how we got here. We landed in National City near the base, and we lived in a shack behind a house. So it was a really small, shack, considered a shack. And my dad biked to the ships in National City, and then we landed at a house in the Navy housing, and Paradise Hills, and then we grew up there in the 70s, and that was fun. 70s and 80s, and then in 1990, my mom decided to buy a house here in Chula Vista, West Side. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really great. We had Ron Morrison on yesterday from National City.
Love him.
He was funny, boy. He told us things about National City. So besides watching our episode, you'll have to watch Ron Morrison because he did such history of Sweetwater and Morris High School. So it's great. It's on the editing block as we speak.
Yay! I can't wait to see that. Hi, Ron.
Hi, Mom. Yeah, I met you through Comic-Con.
Yes.
And imagine that we've got art during the Holocaust, and you've got the panel which is about how to create characters.
Yes.
And because of what you do, it's wonderful to bring you here. And by the way, I am taking her classes. I am taking Marie's classes. And I want to know about animation.
Okay.
And the reason is, as people write stories, everybody has a story. But to be able to add a simple animation is what we're here to do today.
Yes, yes. So with my grandfather spirit behind me, I wanted to know, why am I creating these cartoons? Why is he messaging me through
the cartoons?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because the first ones that I came up with were Enviro babies. And because my dad back in the 80s, we would watch, and that's incredible. And so my dad would show me Discovery Channel and kind of animals attacking each other. And so one day I saw a baby harp seal being clubbed to death. There's no filter back in the 80s, and that just stuck in my mind. I was like, why are these animals being hurt? Why are they being sacrificed? Why are they being eaten? Why is their fur being taken? So I don't wear any fur. I wear fake fur, and I have an environmental theme behind my cartoons. And so when I created the baby harp seal with the giant anime eyes, and I was very much into Robotech. And
did somebody teach you, or did you just sit down one day and say, like, how do you know that you can draw a seal?
Well, let me tell you the truth.
Well,
the truth.
The truth next to Ruth. Okay.
I got an F in second grade. An F.
An F.
Yes.
In second grade.
Second grade. And I remember it quite clearly. I was making, second graders, what are they going to make? Stick figures, I made it stick figures because my teacher said, draw something that you did over the summer break. And I said, oh, okay, I went to Disneyland, and I drew myself as a stick figure. And she said, that's horrible. That's horrible. I want you to erase it and do it again. And I didn't understand what she was talking about. No one taught me how to draw.
Wow.
So she made me cry. My tears would go on the paper.
And you remember that today?
I remember that quite clearly. And my paper would tear because my tears, and I got an F, and I went home and I cried to my dad.
You didn't miraculously take that F and make some kind of a figure out of
I wish I did. I would have said... Sorry, edit.
So you got this F.
Yes, I got the F.
You went home. You showed Mama, Papa.
They were mad.
They were mad. Not at you.
No, not at me.
Because you can't judge creativity.
No, you can't. You can't do that to a child. So I took that F and I said, I'm going to learn how to draw Snoopy. So I drew Snoopy over and over and a million times, I think. And I got so good that all my classmates were like, oh, wow, you're the best artist in the world. And so I took that F and I made Snoopy over. And so it started out with Charles Schulz and then Walt Disney. And I got better and better at drawing. So
the more you do it, the more repetitive you do, the better you get.
Yep. So throughout my whole school life, I got A+ in art, and that kind of motivated me to go beyond just drawing. And so going back to the Enviro Babies, you have to create a cartoon with a theme. Basically, I tell my students that. So think about what your favorite thing is, what really like moves you. And so animals back in the days, I would want to save all of them, all the endangered, threatened, and rare species. So I came up with Enviro Babies, and they were the mascots of the endangered species. So pandas, I created Pandyland, very famous one.
You're giving birth.
Yes.
You're giving birth.
Yes, like a stork. I'm like Dr. Stork.
No, you're Dr. Zhivago.
And so,
This is not our first circus, okay?
No,
Let's just put that out there.
We're very much
Yeah.
alike.
Yeah. Birds of a feather. That'll be your next character.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so Animate and, Robotech, going back to that again, it kind of inspired me to make big eyes, gigantic eyes, and kids really loved that.
Yes.
And I thought maybe, hey, how am I gonna share these cartoons? So I thought maybe I could go into the world of education and teach kids how to draw cartoons about endangered, threatened, and rare species. And so that came about in 1996 when I bought my house in Eastlake. And I had my son in 2002, and it just kind of evolved 25 years to now.
But let's back up. You were a medical tech.
Surgical technologist.
Surgical technologist.
Yes.
They even gave you that name, Dr. Zhivago.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
So here is somebody who's in a blue and white environment, because chances are the room is a light blue with white, everything is clean, everything is sterile. How do you even get to the creative mode after being in something that every day the same thing, the same instrument, you do this, you do that, you do that, next, you do this, you do this, you do this, next. How does the creativity strike?
So way before that, I graduated fashion design and at FITM, they call it Fashion Design Institute Merchandising in Los Angeles. Came back to National City, got a job in manufacturing, clothes and all that. We made knockoffs of Chanel and Louis Vuitton, and I just, I know, right? I learned a lot in the fashion industry, but I was making $3.25 an hour. I was like, I didn't go to school for this.
No.
So I decided to go into the route of medicine, and I really loved anatomy and human anatomy. So I went to nursing school, Southwestern College.
Yeah,
and
Southwestern.
And
we love Southwestern.
I love Southwestern College. And then they had the surgical technology program, and I did that too. And so I became a surgical technologist while I was a cartoonist. So I worked both. And the thing is, you and I have something very in common about surgical life. And surgeons and anesthesiologists would be in the operating room, and I would be there, and I would have to step on 2 step stools to help them. And they would they would say, oh, who are you? And I was like, I'm Marie Zhivago. And they were like, Zhivago? Isn't that just like Dr. Zhivago? And I was like, you know what? I'm so sick and tired of this. So I said, yes. And so every time we had surgery.
If you can't beat it,
join it.
Can you imagine the patient? Dr. Zhivago, we need you here. Oh, another doctor. Right?
Right. So there would be me, there would be the surgeon and his assistant, and or intern. And they would ask for the scalpel, and they'd say, Dr. Zhivago, scalpel, stat. So for 18 years.
18 years.
I would hear Dr. Zhivago.
Wow.
And so I just said, you know what? Forget it.
I love it. I love it. And we see Dr. Zhivago in a whole new way. Let's get started.
Right.
Show me some art. Show me what we're going to do.
Right. Okay. So what I do, Dr.
Anybody who has your iPad at home, go ahead and grab it if you want to try it with Marie.
Yes.
Okay.
So you could use vector artwork in any way.
Explain what vector means.
There are mathematic points on the screen that Adobe Illustrator uses as part of the Adobe collection, Creative Suite. But this is an app that's like the baby sister of Illustrator. It's called Graphic, and you can download it.
Okay.
Adobe Illustrator, you have to pay $20 a month now. It used to be where you could just pop in a floppy disk and install it. Floppy disk. But now you can download it for $8.99. I think it's $9 now.
On the iPad.
On the iPad, a one-time fee. On the desktop, it's $24.99.
It's Graphic.
Graphic.
And this is an Apple app.
Apple app. Yes.
Okay.
Only. Sorry,
beautiful.
Andrew. Yes. So this is Lana Kai, and I made her with basically digital points. So like what you said about shapes and things like that, I start off with the circle, and then I mold it. Let me go ahead and save that. I'll do a new one here. And what I do is get a blank canvas, and then I create the circle, and then I use the arrow, and I can move those points.
You physically didn't create the circle. You grabbed a tool that will make the circle for you with another tool.
Yes.
So what have we got going on right now?
So you could create, so that was just like a basic circle, and you could create like a face. You could change the color to, say, flesh tone, and then you could create eyeballs, and then you can make it a solid color, and then make another circle and create the eyeball, different colors. So I teach you the shortcuts, like copy and paste, and now I have two eyeballs there. Boom.
And then, so you can move it, and then how do you get it so that you know it's even? Oh, because you copied and pasted. And when it comes in line.
And it has tools where you see these little red lines where it will balance you out there. The beauty of technology versus traditional is that you can make something really fast, but I also say that traditional drawing on paper is important because you get to see the draft before you make the final copy.
Now, you said something that was very interesting. You said that you have to have the image in your head.
Yes.
And the theme.
Yes.
So can I throw the theme out?
Yes.
This is going to be Lizzie the librarian.
Lizzie the librarian.
We need to get glasses on Lizzie.
Okay, so you would make a basic circle, okay? Change that into a solid color, maybe like make it black, and then copy and paste that circle, copy and paste, insert it into the circle and make it smaller. Then grab both of those, and then you'd go into the tools here, and you would go to combine, and then you would subtract. Boom.
Oh, how cool is that?
And then you would copy and paste that, and then you'd put, rewind, and then you put the glasses on her. So
you could be doing this all day long.
Yes, that's the beauty of it.
Is Lizzie the librarian happy? Is she sad? Does she smell something? What? We need to add two more things: a mouth and a nose.
Okay, so I would do the same thing, but I would literally change it to red. And then I take the second tool and bring that down, and then take the second tool down here. There's a wishbone, and I tap that, and then she has lips because she loves red lips. And
you're
then
doing this upside down. Oh my gosh.
And then I'd take the pencil tool, and then I would just outline the nose. See how that is an outline, but I would make it maybe to that and take away the outline, invisible, and then fade this a little bit,
Look at that.
So it just shows the shadow of the nose, because I don't like to make the
How old do you teach? Like, when do you start teaching? And are you doing Zooms in the school district?
Yes.
Or, okay.
I am doing, like, I have kids that are signed up, and we do, I actually do pre-recorded lessons, and then I have taught, my oldest student was 80, my youngest student was, youngest student is 5, basically. So I teach kindergarten through whatever age. I mean, there's no limit.
So, in our Chula Vista School District, maybe a church, an organization, a synagogue, even outside of Chula Vista, from elementary to high school to even maybe at Southwestern College, you can teach through Zooming, correct, until we get back up on our feet. And how do people find you?
www.drzhivagoglobal.com. And let me just add also that this is not the only thing that I teach. I also teach 3D animation and inserting that into artificial intelligence. So not just an educator, but also an entrepreneur in business. I do, publishing. And you could do so many things: graphic design, web design, 3D design, and artificial intelligence. And let me tell you about STEAM. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math is what we presented at Comic-Con International. Is that art not only does it spread a visual message with hope and saving lives and things like that, you could also use art for artificial intelligence. And so there's an app here that I have that I worked with a software engineer. So you've got art and software engineering, the science and engineering part, where you could basically take cartoon characters and create.
Hello guys, have a great day.
So basically this character here,
Else?
this character is hooked up with Amazon Alexa, and if you ask it, it will turn off your lights at home while you're in Hawaii.
Show me.
I can't, I'm gonna turn off the lights at home. But literally you ask a question and then
Ask how she's doing.
well, let me see if it has to be connected to the internet, so I
Okay.
don't know if there is, but you could download the app on my
How
website.
did you get the eyes to move and the mouth to move?
Well, so basically,
You just put the one image in,
yes,
and what app is this?
this is called PALS AI, PALS, Artificial Intelligence AI.
And how much is this app?
It's free because my software engineer wanted to create something that was AI and cartoons, and he found me on the internet, and I was like, okay, cool.
PALS
yes.
AI.
And so basically I create the characters on a program called Blender, and Blender, you could create the objects, the shapes, the cylinders into your character. You have to mold it into your character. So right now the internet here.
So what makes you go from one program to the other program?
Basically it's what the trend is right now. And right now,
Do you ever create in the first program we talked about, and
Yes.
then we'll go to Blender?
Yes.
Or do you go straight to Blender?
There's 3 types: drawing, 2D, and then eventually 3D. And 2D and 3D are totally different because 2D is flat. 3D brings it out in such a way that, I mean, you have kids that are on gaming systems and they're like interested in gaming now, and it's like you had Pokemon Go, which was a global phenomenon. So there's gaming apps, and then there's apps for basically service, like getting your pizza. You have to have those graphics up there. That's the beauty of
But how
art.
do you start?
Well, you basically have to. I was born in that era of 1980 when we had floppy disks and CDs.
Sure.
So I had to learn on my own. And like the library, you have all this information. You have it all on the web. Learn about history and everything, all the visuals. So on the web, I just went out there and I learned on my own, basically.
How long did it take you to figure out the programs to use, to do? I am so blown away. I am so blown away.
I know, that part I didn't tell her. And so basically, the question was, how do you start?
Yeah, how do you start?
Well, you start by somebody that knows. So you want to learn about graphics?
But you start with a circle.
Yep, you start with somebody who knows, like me. I'm going to teach you, and then I'm going to tell you about it.
Do I need to know how to make a perfect circle? Do I need to know how to make a perfect square? That's what I mean. It's a matter of taking choices of things that are there, expanding them, using the creativity that if you don't want the round eyes, you'll have triangle eyes, square eyes, bringing them in, taking them out, making it blue. Correct?
Correct. You don't have to be perfect at something. Like I got an F in art, and basically I just kept trying over and over again. And my policy with the kids and the students in the school district is you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to make a perfect square, because in the end you're going to perfect and erase, perfect and erase. And so that's my motto here. You don't have to be perfect, but the tools will help you.
Don't you understand that when it came to the A grade, it stood for when it came to the F, it stood for fine student. You were a fine student, okay? Because look at who you are and what you do now.
Yes. It was the F that was on my grade on paper, but the emotions of getting that perfect A took me to that A to a career, and now education of teaching others. So in surgery they call C1, do one, C1, learn one, do one, teach one.
Yeah.
And in surgery, that's how I was taught. I was like, that's absolutely right. So I learned that.
You know, and my mom always said to me, you can either take something and use it as a threat, or you can take something and use it as a challenge. Yes. What's it going to be?
Wow.
And this really showed what the challenge is.
Yes. There's another app here that is called Pal's Guessing Game, and it's not working right now, but it would literally show an object on the table, and it would literally tell you what it is. So it's kind of, computer systems, like a pair of glasses.
You put a pair of glasses
on the table, and then my app would literally, it's not working right now, it would literally go and look at that eyeglass and say, pair of eyeglasses. Yeah. So we would integrate the cartoons with artificial intelligence to look at something on the table and identify it as that object. So I would say, it helps, the visually impaired, of which my dad is visually impaired. So
Are you teaching in the schools this year? What exactly is happening because of COVID? Where are you at? Private classes, yes.
Private classes, yes. Online.
Zoom, yes. Online classes, but what is your future in the school district right now?
Well, with all teachers, we're all, we all have to make our own classrooms at our own homes, because it's distance learning. And as we speak, we're on a 14-day watch. We're off the watch list, and so 14 days we're going to determine if we're going to open the schools again. And it's a virus that has no cure. There's no vaccine yet, so I'm definitely happy where I am.
Yeah.
I'm happy where I am, because I have immune issues. I have Graves' disease, and my kids have asthma. And so if we get this virus, I don't know. It's like a gamble. I would like to play it safe and do online classes right now. And with the schools, that's all on hold right now. So
you're amazing.
Thank
and you know what's going to happen when we say our send-off? I'm going to be thinking about you all night long. I'm going to be texting you. I mean, will you make me a promise? Will you come back?
Yes, of course.
You promise?
We have so much in common.
Oh, when we have so many things that we like.
Yes, so it's called Visual and Performing Arts, VAPA. And so I have a digital drama class, a theater class, so we perform my stories on stage, and I've taught at high school level and elementary school level. And so when we get up on the stage, it kind of reminds me of you with your costumes and your drama and Cirque du Soleil.
We have to put them together.
Yes.
We have to figure out how, because I have a story in my head that I want to talk to you about. And one thing I'm not going to let COVID do is win.
Right.
And one thing I'm not going to let COVID do is take away our creativity.
Yes.
Yeah, okay? It's bad enough that you took away the being able to go into the exhibit or the fact that dining in a restaurant, but you're not going to take away my creativity.
Right.
And you're not going to take away what it takes for me to be with friends, even if I'm with the glass.
And the beauty with digital media arts, just like with drawing, traditional drawing, and digital arts, is that you have a whole world of other kinds of, there's different facets. And with digital arts, collaboration doesn't end. It's opened its door. Unfortunately, with COVID and pandemic, we're all forced to be inside, but digital media arts, I think it's going to pave the way for a lot of kids, adults, and things like that for us to collaborate
online. And these are
online.
things that people need to learn now, because when we're out of our COVID period, we hope to see more books. We hope to see more things that people are doing in the South Bay. I wanted to tell you before we go on that we have this exhibit this year. Next year we have the fireman exhibit, and the one after that is our Filipino American exhibit. So I just wanted to put that out there to you, that you definitely are on our call list, text list. Marie, we need you, we want you for so many different things. I am totally blown away. I want this show to keep going, and unfortunately, our time has come. You promised me you're coming back.
Yes. Eskimos.
Eskimos. Yeah. I'm going to make a quick shout out to two people, if that's okay. Wasakulabale, I didn't forget you. Okay. And Valerie Lee, thank you. From Le Balage. Yes.
Nice.
I had to wear
it.
Yeah. I knew you were going to wear something so cool that I had to figure out what I was going to do.
This is my little hat that I have on. I wear it all the time.
Do you do hat tricks?
No. Teach me.
We'll do that afterwards. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Schluckleisner in die Tatzen, wer wird Tatzen mich schatzen? Oi, oi, Gott ist größer, hat doch gewünscht mein Häuser, die mir sind gegeben, Häuser, wir sind ausgegeben, die wir sind ausgegeben.